said, let's talk about an obvious paradox. The world has unsurprisingly rapidly made a number of COVID-19 vaccines over the past year. The COVID-19 epidemic is a pandemic in that it is worldwide, and the control of a contagious disease, as the WHO keeps pointing out, has to be everywhere or it is achieved nowhere. So what do we need in order for rapid, equitable, global COVID-19 vaccination? Clearly, we need a sufficient supply of vaccines, since there are many vaccines, all more or less comparable to each other, and we need a global distribution system for them. Since we've made many vaccines, what is needed to ramp up their production scale so as to ensure a sufficient vaccine supply? Obviously, we need their large-scale decentralized production across the world. The trouble is that while they have the capacity to manufacture, they do not have the intellectual property access to do this for new vaccines, such as the COVID-19 vaccines, unless they license vaccine candidates from the so-called developers so as to serve as expansion manufacturing hubs. So what do we need? We need much greater levels of such expansion via not simply access to patents, but also associated information such as trade secrets and protected clinical data. While North America has vaccinated about 30% of its people at least once, Europe has done so for about 20%, South America is at 10%, Asia as a whole is at 6%, while Africa is not even at 1%. And these broad numbers hide even greater disparities within them, of course. One major reason for this inequity is vaccine nationalism. The argument that for once it is the global north that is bearing the brunt of COVID-19, so vaccines should go there first, and that countries have an obligation to their own citizens first where vaccine supply is concerned. This is nonsense. The fact of the matter is that a globally connected world needs everybody vaccinated. The only way to reduce the inimical impact of these callous games is to press for an enabled, diverse portfolio of approvals of vaccines from across the board, including Chinese and Russian ones, which have been slow-tracked, and supplies to the WHO COVAX program for equitable distribution. And it is this entire swathe of activity pressing for greater vaccine manufacturing access, decentralized via the WTO, greater regulatory approval diversity, and vaccine supply via the WHO, which is together going to be critical for ensuring that the rest of the world gets COVID-19 vaccines in good enough time so as to protect not simply the global south, but also the global north.